So, good afternoon, hello, welcome back. Welcome back to anyone who's returning, and welcome as well if this is your first time looking at my vlog. I hope you're all well, thriving and surviving as the saying goes. Please comment, feedback is welcome, positive and negative, and it would be much appreciated if you'd click on the like button, and the same if you choose to subscribe as well. Today, I'm not going to be posting about forest bathing, sorry for that, but what with client sessions, counselling and forest bathing sessions, hospital appointments and life, not at the time. Instead, today, I'd like to offer my musings on life, some current events and dreams, and you might have noticed that I'll be reading from some notes that I've prepared. I hope that's okay with you. So, again, instead today I'd like to offer my musings on life, some current events and dreams. Dreams. Dreams of what I would like to see happen. Ideals, if you will. So let's start with life. Life as we experience it in a society and a world that is confusing, busy, and full of uncertainty. A life where perhaps the certainties we grew up with are being eroded, or perhaps have gone altogether. As a counsellor, I'm fascinated how each of us is impacted by the uncertainties and how each of us deal with them. I'm aware some of us face difficulties, face them squarely and persevere despite difficulties. You seem to be inured to the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. As a counsellor, it seems as if a lot of those people are storing up the stress and blows until they reach a tipping point. When they do reach that tipping point, some seek solutions with any number of different strategies, be it drink, drugs, sport, food. The options are endless, really. Some of those people come into therapy rooms, and that is really, really positive. It indicates that they've not given up or accepted, rather they are seeking solutions to the problems they are facing. They're seeking a way of dealing with life and then carrying on. I see people who are aware that they need a shoulder to cry on, someone who will listen, and by doing so enable that person to find a solution that works for them. That person can be the mother who's returning to work after leaving her newborn in childcare less than 3 months since the birth of their child. Or it might be the father who's the provider. Perhaps it's the father who forgoes a meal or a coffee at work because he knows the precarious state of the family finances. Maybe the person who has more months left than pay remaining and can see no way of it being different. That might be familiar to quite a few of us. Another type of person is the single parent. A parent who, despite the trauma of the end of the relationship still carries on with parenting, putting the needs of their children before their own. Inwardly deeply wounded, highly stressed, just about managing to cope. The single parent who dreads the 6-week holiday because for them it is anything but a holiday. Parent who is racked by guilt because, despite their best efforts, they cannot provide a holiday that their children deserve. Instead, they are left trusting the care of their children to paid carers and hoping the child does not become enslaved by the street culture they see other children drawn into. Maybe they're feeling powerless to avoid that course for their children. Maybe they are too busy and worn out from the effort of providing, doing the best they can. They lack the time and the energy to give to their children. Then there are those who, for whatever reason, be it ill health, adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs as we call them in my world, or lack of opportunity, can only survive on the edge of society, marginalised, shunned, criticised. Daily fare for such people. Yet, somehow, after seeing other people prosper, turning their own lack of achievement in on themselves, they get up each day, So, some powerful examples there. I have to be honest, I don't have the answers for the individual. I have my own struggles, but that does not mean I lack empathy. I do what I can, when I can, but cannot all too often leave me feeling as if I've just stuck a sticky plaster solution on it, rather than dealt with the problems, or even addressed the problems. When I feel like that, I find hope, which is vital for each of us, in history, specifically social history. There still remains small, diminished, easy for you to say, diminished islands of care. And I think about people such as the first female mayor of London, a woman who was a Jew, who instigated open spaces and tree planting to bring the benefits of fresh air and open spaces to those who would otherwise not have access to them. Then there are the small charities and groups who struggle to fill the gaps in funding and provision, while all the time providing much needed services. Another group I see are the unions. Yeah, okay, I've sensed hackles rising. But despite the slurs, the failures, the scandals of the pasts that the unions have experienced, have gone through, they still join together for the benefit of all their members. Bear with me. Members such as the Amazon workers, the Uber drivers, the train drivers, cleaners, shop workers, etc., etc. Too often we hear about them negatively, but the people they represent would have a much different view, I think. It's just that we never hear that view. Similarly, we never hear about the employers who decry the selfish sort of corporations, the employers who call for a fairer tax system and who pay their fair share instead of availing themselves of the services of highly paid accountants in order to benefit from every loophole known to us. Neither do we hear about those who, with small contributions of money and time, make a difference. Perhaps one example of that is Timpson's, the shoe repairers and key cutters. By employing ex-offenders, not exploiting them with poor pay, they enable people who have served their sentence the possibility of earning a living, not being compelled to commit further crime. I would ask, which among us would not commit crime if it meant that we wouldn't go cold or hungry? Which of us wouldn't commit crime if it meant not standing up for those we love who have been poorly treated or let down by the criminal system? I remind myself there are no wealthy and poor people in the graveyard, just dead people. We can only wear one shirt at a time. So when I see street homeless people, I'm mindful of organisations such as St Mungo's and Centrepoint, unsung but crucial in turning lives around. It pleases me immensely when people who have been helped by these organisations respond by wanting to help others in similar straits to the ones they were once in. I find it fascinating that when we're in need, somehow those who will help become apparent. I'm also grateful that they're still there. Something else I'd like to talk about today is the rise of the right. There are a couple of events I've watched unfold recently. I've watched and been appalled by the rise of the right wing in Europe, America and the UK for some time now. I've been in meetings where people have been in tears because of the fear and danger, humiliation, rejection and suffering that have been brought into their lives. People behaving in a way that brings fear, humiliation, rejection and suffering can be called right wing. People who can be called right wing, decent people who are persuaded that a person from another culture, people who worship a different God, who faced unimaginable difficulties in order to have the opportunity to live here and have a better life, persuaded that somehow they present a threat to themselves, their communities, their families, people who are able to live and express express themselves quite often in a second language or a third language, far better than I could ever do. Specifically, I'll mention a couple of... Oh, just got dark. Specifically, I'll mention February around recent events in Epping. So at first I was heartened to see groups of residents banding together and demonstrating against the actions of a man who's now being dealt with by the criminal justice system. A man who came from another country and another culture. A man who has not been found to be guilty yet, I hasten to add. I don't ever endorse or approve of any behaviour that causes victims. My horror was compounded when I saw footage of how a legitimate and well-ordered protest was hijacked by the right wing, and how it became a political football. And I ask, how has that helped the victim or their family? What if the person charged is found to be innocent? Too late, I fear. The damage has been done. The narrative has been spread. I'd also like to impart offer my thoughts to the police officers who attended, far braver people than me, and I'm aware that they will carry the mental and emotional scars of them for a long time. So when I shop and am served by the man from Bahrain, who has 2 doctorate degrees in my local Tesco's, or the Syrian falafel vendor and his Asian colleagues, or the Egyptian grocer, or the Egyptian street cleaner, who has taught me so much, I'm grateful. Similarly, I remember with great fondness that an Asian heart surgeon and his family gave up, he was still giving up 1 day a week to cook at a local homeless shelter. So where am I going with this? So, be it in Gaza, or Israel, or America, or the UK, the far right at present. But what of history? Well, one example that comes to mind is the Battle of Cable Street. The black-shirted thugs of the fascist right wing, led by Oswald Mosley, given short shrift then, given short shrift by working class people whose communities had welcomed with open arms generations of immigrants. Today's fascists, right-wing thugs, they can be given the same shrift today by not buying into their fear, by not buying into their ideology, by standing together, united. How do we achieve this? Well, we do it by listening, talking to them, making them aware of how life is and not how they are led to believe it is, by providing growth, opportunity and hope for us all, and us. There isn't really a them and us, is there? There's a we. Not just giving it to people who want to garner everything for themselves. So now it feels as if I'm speaking about the final topic for today, hope. Yeah, very short word, often heard. Not heard as often as I'd like it to be heard. I've got to tell you, I need hope. Because without hope, I'm left with the prospect of life only getting worse. So I do have dreams. Those dreams are of a life where we're all adequately clothed, fed and housed. We have the resources. There's more than enough money in the economy for it. I dream that we can live alongside each other, peacefully, not necessarily liking or agreeing with each other, but tolerating each other. I dream that no parent has to leave a 3-month-old child in daycare so they can return to work. I dream that every working parent can earn enough so as to be able to not only provide but to have quality of time with their children and partner. I dream of a world where the sick and elderly are cared for with respect and dignity, not faced with choices of heating or eating. A world where the teachers and doctors are valued more highly than the billionaire. I dream of a world where honesty and character are seen as virtues to be emulated, rather than perhaps being an influencer. So I'm posting this vlog on a Sunday, with a bank holiday weekend next weekend. I'd just like to be mindful of why I've got these periods of rest, time off of work. And I like to keep that in mind when I see them being moved into history. The reasons we have schools, holidays, maternity pay, sick pay, because people just like you and I stood together and fought for them. They protested until they could not be ignored. None of those things were given by compassionate and benevolent employers, unless perhaps they were Bourneville or Trebor, or perhaps they were the residents of Crompton. Remember the song Straight Out of Crompton, that district in Los Angeles? They came out on the streets and they stood together because they didn't like the way that ICE was targeting people in their community, and they defeated them. They called their bluff. They called them out on their illegality. And there was a small area in Crompton where, for the time being, people that would have been targeted by ICE feel safe. There are two living examples of people that I would just like to put in here. And they both come from the world of entertainment, and they might well be known to you, or you might know of their work. One of them was Keanu Reeves. I happen to like a lot of what he does. I don't think that really matters. You see, Keanu Reeves, he ensures that when he's on set, surplus food from the crew caterers is given out to those in need, not binned. Keanu Reeves stipulates that a certain number of vacancies at the film sets are filled by those that come from deprived backgrounds. Now that man's going to have more money than I'm ever likely to see in my life. What I'm envious of is he has a heart, he has compassion, he has a conscience. The other character is a man called Jon Bon Jovi. Way back when, lead singer of a very popular band, did the tour, earned the money, lived the lifestyle. He also is seen regularly working as a kitchen porter, as a dishwasher to you and I, in an LA soup kitchen. So, when I see political leaders arming aggressors instead of seeking peace, leaders who push austerity in order to reward the already wealthy, leaders who perpetuate genocide in order to avoid criminal trial, or who build walls, deport workers because of some twisted ideological or political ideology that serves them and no one else, I compare them to Keanu Reeves and Jon Bon Jovi. And the last two I'm fond of and I praise. Finally, thanks for sticking with me. It's been a bit halting. I'm still not very good at this vlogging lark. I hope it hasn't put you off. Perhaps it's the substance that matters and not the style. I hope so. I just want to offer a phrase that stays with me and guides me. It goes like this. When we die, who will we be? Will we be the richest man in the graveyard, and very few people miss? Or will we be the deceased person whose funeral service was packed out and who will be remembered fondly? We all have the choice as to how that goes. So I wish you all the best. Thank you again for the time taken. And until the next time, take care, be well, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.